If you're wanting to learn about essential oils that might be able to improve your communication and relationships and how it is that you're communicating with other people, then this is the video for you to watch on. Allow your heart to listen. Welcome, I'm Nid, a soul guide, and we have been exploring speaking our truth, the many aspects at which this can get very nuanced and confusing. And the final stage of stepping into speaking our truth is actually empathetic communication with other people. As we've been exploring through this series, there are various points where even learning our own truth is such an overwhelming and confusing space that sometimes we're operating in. It's really hard to be able to actually connect, listen, and have space for empathy for other people. And therefore we can sometimes miscommunicate and come from a place where our energy is not necessarily as open-minded or open-hearted as we might intend and want it to be. And aromatherapy is a really beautiful way that you can support yourself in how you can communicate consciously and start to open up those parts of yourself that you might need a clearer communication that really holds empathy for yourself and compassion for yourself in balance with that of other people. And ultimately, we need to ensure that we're a part of that whole picture, that we're really thinking about how we hold ourselves when we're going into that communication with someone else. So I wanted to start with an acknowledgement. There's many ways in which we can use the essential oils. Many aren't great to put directly on your skin, and so getting a lava bead bracelet that you can just wear on your wrist as you go out and about can be really helpful, because you can just drop the essential oil that's most supportive for you onto that bead. It will last most of the day in terms of a smell, and it doesn't have to go onto your skin. And the lava bead bracelet looks okay, depending on what your style is. You know, it's a super simple beaded bracelet if you like the beaded bracelets. Other options could be that you can get these little cushions that are a bit like alternative to a tissue, but they last longer, and that you can drop the oils onto that, and then you can put that in your bag or in your pocket and have a little sniff as you go around throughout your day. Having something like this to support us, especially when you know what kind of a day, you've got lots of meetings or you're going to see certain people, just to help set you up, is going to give you that place of confidence and a sense of self-empowerment, of taking your own emotional well-being into consideration before you go into these scenarios, because possibly you can't always just run off and grab the right essential oil when there's a moment of situation with someone and you're like, oh, I need that essential oil, which one was it again, to go and get. So we're just trying to, and maybe work with this more in anticipation, or maybe you've been in a situation and you're processing where and how could I have spoken my truth. Perhaps you're going back to the movement and journaling video that we did, linked below, so that you can use this to help support that practice. And maybe then you go back and you see that person and you can use this essential oil again also to support you in that future communication. So you might alternatively, if you're doing it that way, want to use either an essential oil burner with a little candle and the water, or you might have a diffuser, which is an electronic one that you plug in to your wall with water. So whatever version it is that you are using, obviously just make sure that it's safe and that you're going to be well in your environment. So the first piece of communication that we may struggle with is when something's changing and we're really struggling to forgive, to let go, to allow the change to happen. Perhaps someone is saying things that they want that's going to be different, to change and to move on from, and we're finding it really hard to make that shift ourselves. And a way of opening yourself up to those kinds of shifts, a way of releasing and surrendering a little bit to that process, is to work either with frankincense or boswellia essential oil. Frankincense, or boswellia as it's officially called, is really great for grief. So this may also be applicable if you have an emotional scenario where you're dealing with grief and you need to go and speak to other people who are dealing with grief. Frankincense is really, really beautiful for working with that energy of how we can move on. The other one, which I don't have with me, is myrrh, that other sacred oil that was gifted to Jesus at birth. And myrrh is really helpful for when we're feeling really attached to a situation working out in a certain way, which is another form of not wanting to let go, right? Attachment is basically holding on to a certain way of things being. So myrrh is another beautiful one when we're in that place where it's really hard to let go, even maybe of your own viewpoint. And this can lead us to saying sorry. How often is it that we're angry that someone else has not said, I am sorry? But how often are you the first person who says, I am sorry for my hurt towards you, for whatever it is that I did that caused you pain and suffering? Whether you understand it or not, how often do you volunteer and offer up a genuine apology of sorrow and self-forgiveness for something that maybe you don't even understand, but you can see the pain that you've caused someone else? And that is another place of which that frankincense and myrrh are really powerful essential oils to help yourself tap into being the initiator of, I am sorry. And that's going to move past and onwards to the future. The next one might be that you're not very confident of speaking up, or you have something in which you need to go and talk about that it's just a new topic to you, or it's something that in the past has always been dealt with in a certain way, and so you need the confidence to move yourself forwards, to step up and have this new presence within you being recognized. And this is where the beautiful sacred wood of sandalwood is really powerful. And actually I have two here. They're both Australian sandalwood, which is what I would really encourage you to use at this time, because the Indian sandalwood is actually now on a list of potential extinction. And so in order to respect the environment and the sacredness of this oil, the Australian sandalwood is actually really sustainable. It's beautiful and light as well. So it's got this uplifting in the confidence, and that's going to really help move you forwards and take you into a whole new level of what it is that you can share with people. Another one, if sandalwood can be quite expensive, that's a little bit more affordable, is geranium. Now geranium is also really great because it brings calm. So if you've got that nervousness, then you're going to enjoy using geranium to help have a sweeter, it's a flower rather than a wood. So if you don't really like the woody scents, then geranium's going to be a lovely floral way to step into that confidence and to embrace a little bit more calm within you before you go and speak up and share whatever it is that you're going to be saying. Obviously, rose is a really, really beautiful essential oil. If you're feeling like it's really hard to speak from your heart, if you can tell that those shadows, those challenging memories and parts of yourself really want to attack, if you are finding that you yourself are speaking over people, perhaps you're having outbursts or your voice gets really loud and people are like, oh, could you just quieten down a little bit? Rose can help to soften some of that compassion and let you really drop in and open that space for yourself so you can speak from that space. And that's really all we're trying to do at all times. Perhaps you're noticing that the inner critic from our first video in this series, where we contemplated what does truth mean, is a little bit active. That inner critic can lead to a big pile of logic, questions and thoughts. And that logic becomes a bit of an attack. And you may be feeling that attack reflected at you by other people as well as within yourself. And so if there is that heavy logic attack going on around you, it's really lovely to just soften it with the sweetness of sweet orange. Sweet orange is going to bring joyousness. It's got that beautiful innocence of the child, of awe and wonder. And when we bring that innocence in, it helps to alleviate that very, very strong logic inner critic within, that truth energy, and just help it to soften a little bit, release some of its own anxiety of how is it going to stay cared for? And so using that sweet orange is a beautiful way in which you can just tap into the sweetness beneath that inner critic. So what I don't have here, unfortunately, I've used them all up, are 2 blue essential oils. And one of my favorite things with the blue essential oils is they literally turn my candles blue when I'm hand making my essential oil candles for my clients. And it's this beautiful soft blue that comes through with the coconut soy wax I use. It feels like body butter. It's so delicious. And the first essential oil that's really beautiful and a brilliant blue is blue cypress. It's here in Australia. And this is one that brings us really grounded. Really, really, like many Australian oils, it has this really rooting down into the ancient earth to come into the integrity of your voice. And integrity is important in when we're telling the truth, whether or not we're telling the truth to ourselves, whether or not we're telling the truth to others. And sometimes we don't realize we don't tell the truth to ourselves. And this is where blue cypress can really cut through all of that and provide you with that truth. And that blue goes with the beautiful color of our Vishuddhi, our throat chakra. So blue cypress is super powerful for grounded integrity, like grounded humility of your own truth, to acknowledge and honor what there is within you that maybe you don't even know about. And it is such a blessed oil to smell as well. It's really beautiful. I have an extra blog that I wrote about blue cypress. If you wish to check it out, I'll pop the link below. And finally, the other blue oil that I don't have with me today is the blue tansy. And this is one that helps provide emotional stability as we are communicating and expressing ourselves. It's really great when we're feeling like we're under stress to have it on in the background when you've got a deadline and you've got to, churn out lots of YouTube videos on a short deadline. You might want to have some blue tansy on, or be placing it, on your clothes or something so you can smell it and keep yourself calm as you're moving through that stress. So you're staying really honorable and truthful to yourself as you move through that stress without your emotions going all over the place. Because yes, it is the truth that our emotions go all over the place, but the underlying truth of those emotions going all over the place, well, that's for you to discover. And that's for you to explore with these essential oils and with these practices in this series. Perhaps your nervous system's feeling quite fried and it's really hard to be able to tell what it even is that you want to say. You're in that I just don't know, is it this, is it that, what's the right thing to do? And your nervous system's just too stressed out to work out how it can even start to think what is the truth and whether or not it should be said. That's just too many steps. The overwhelm has kicked in. This is where we're going to jump into Ylang Ylang. Ylang Ylang is a beautiful balancer for the nervous system and just helps bring us back to that place of centeredness where we can begin to work out just what right now is true and what right now do I need for support. And that's the first truth that you need to speak once you've come into that centeredness with Ylang Ylang. And perhaps then from that Ylang Ylang, if your nervous system has been really activated, it's quite stressed out, it can be really easy to have lost a connection with our inner feelings, with some of those inner truths, and we can't always hear ourselves very clearly. And this is where you want to start coming into using some rosemary essential oil. Now, rosemary isn't always everyone's favorite, but it is amazing for clarity of your own inner feelings. And that's why we might want to drop into using that rosemary with some of that Ylang Ylang, or afterwards as you move yourself through the process. That needle is going to really cut through all of that stuff. But we want to use that Ylang Ylang first to center and calm, and then cut through whatever is left so that you can really step into that clarity. And I find in particular, and especially in those early days of developing intuitive senses, where that rosemary really can help us start to tap into that intuitive, real inner guidance and psychic's gifts, combining it with chamomile is going to help you to reduce down any excess inflammation energy. So this is where there may be any of that stress within the body effectively. So where you've been stressed through feeling too agitated, too on the run, too on the go, that chamomile is going to help you just really drop all of that extra layer of stuff. And as I said, when we drop all of that, then you can start to feel that connection and get that clarity with the other two. So they're a really beautiful combination that I always really loved using, especially in the early days of connecting with my own true voice. Maybe when you're feeling bullied, like you're feeling that you're under attack, that might be where it's really great to use that Ylang Ylang, chamomile, and rosemary for you to really come into your own truth about your own power in that situation, and to hear your own true voice against someone else that is oppressing you. And that chamomile is really going to help with that angry energy that is being moved around your field. The other piece to state around over talking, where you notice yourself like in a verbal diarrhea almost, that you're not really stopping and taking your time with what there is again that beautiful combination of the rosemary and the chamomile and the Ylang Ylang. So this is a powerful 3-part combination. I really do encourage a lot of you to try that out first. But the other oils that I've tapped into and shared with you are also equally powerful in their different ways. Although they may be varied in pricing, and I have popped linked below to my favorite oils, which are organic oils, so they're really high quality, therapeutic grade, to really support you energetically to the highest possible standard. But I appreciate that pricing is an issue, and that's where things like rosemary and Ylang Ylang can be really supportive and help you move through things with a little bit more ease, as well as the geranium is super powerful for you to drop down into that confident, calm place, especially if you're someone who loves a good flowery smell. Do share your comments below on any of your ideas of blends and combinations, and I love to hear what else there is that you've discovered has been amazing for activating and taking care of your wonderful, empowered and empathic communications with others. I hope that you've enjoyed the Speak Your Truth series that's been shared here on YouTube. If you're interested in getting these series early, you can jump over to the YouTube membership at Nidra. It's Your Sanctuary's Essentials, where we're adding in other content that's not available on YouTube. Those are short series for movement practices that have been done with clients over the years. They come from the lives that I share on Insight Timer and other spaces. And if you're interested in learning more about my group offerings, maybe the Gene Keys, then come over to Your Sanctuary within the Nidra app, and you can be a part of a worldwide community of loving and kind people who are really standing in their truth and being the light of hope that we need at this time. It's powerful and wonderful work, and gently done, and everyone has their pace, their parts, and where they join in and connect. There's no compulsory amount of time that you need to spend doing or taking part in anything. We honor each and everyone's individual journey in our space, and we just love to welcome you there to be a part of our community and to hold you in our loving arms. Until the next series, Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful day.